Hey guys, I am back and it is Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth to you guys out there. I'm here with my book suggestion for today called The Brightest Day. It's an anthology that is based around Juneteenth. So let's get into it.
It's gonna be the intro to your book review. Right.
So listen, I have been gone for a little minute. I do recognize that, but let me tell you what happened. So the last video that I did, I had a broke nail, right? And from there, it just went all downhill. Like, the struggle was real, and I was like, you know what I can't do is this on camera, just not being able to communicate with y'all the way that I like to communicate. So I had to take a little break, but I'm back because my nails is dead. Okay, so in my Azalea Banks voice, I got new nails, y'all.
Guess who got some new titties, y'all? Woo!
Before I start telling you guys about the book that I want to suggest that you guys read, I have a little public service announcement that I need to go ahead and get out there. So, everybody needs to mark their calendar for Sunday, July the 12th, from 7 until 8:30, because I will be hosting what I like to call Read What Happens Live. Okay, so this is like my version of Watch What Happens Live, and I'm going to be interviewing the Joan Vassar. You guys know she's the author of the Black series. That's my favorite series. Clearly, I'm going to use my platform to push those authors and those books that I absolutely love. And y'all know that I love this book series. Okay, so we are going to have tons of fun on that night, and it's going to be unlike any other thing that I know that I've ever seen. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have call-ins. We're going to have interviews with her throughout the entire thing. I'm going to do some scenarios. So y'all going to have to guess and see what scene I'm acting out and all of this. It's going to be fun, okay? Because if you didn't know this, myself, along with my book club, ICU Reading and Social Network, we are just... we're not your ordinary book club, okay? So make sure that you mark your calendars right now, Sunday, July 12th, 7 p.m. so that you can be in the building. It's going to be live on my YouTube page right here. We're also going to have it on Facebook at the ICU Reading and Chatting page. So make sure that you are following me on Instagram and on Facebook so you can get the notifications about it. Invite your friends, and how about get the books, all of them, and read them so that you can be ready and prepared for the interview, because we're going to be delving into those books. It's going to be all kind of spoiler talk and everything, and so I want you to be able to engage, okay? So again, y'all remember the date I told y'all? What's the date? Y'all remember? I just said it twice. Sunday, July 12th. 7 p.m. 7 p.m. July 12th, Sunday. Okay, y'all got it? Okay, cool. Now, again, I say to you all, happy Juneteenth. Juneteenth is what the Black community considers their Independence Day. I mean, I get it. Back in, 1776, I think. Somebody might end up correcting me on that, but whatever. 1776 or where about that time frame. Okay, so the colonies, y'all not with Great Britain no more. Okay, y'all got y'all's independence, but Black folks still slaves. Like we not free. We don't have no independence. It wasn't until nearly 90 years later that we had the Emancipation Proclamation that was written and passed. But then it wasn't until 2 years later that soldiers showed up in Texas to let the last group of slaves know that they were free. So that is why Juneteenth is so relevant, because June 19th is believed to be the date when those soldiers showed up in Texas to tell the last of those slaves that they were actually free. That's why it's important. That's why Black folks should be celebrating it. That's why Black folks that don't necessarily celebrate or recognize July 4th have every right not to. Okay, guys, so I will read nonfiction books, for real. I will. But I really, really, really like fiction books. So I was able to find a book that can commemorate Juneteenth and still give me that fiction vibe that I love so much. So the book that I am selecting for you guys to go ahead and pick up is called The Brightest Day, and it's a Juneteenth historic romance anthology. So we've got 4 different authors, and they have individual stories in this book, and there is a Juneteenth component that's in all of the stories, okay? So I would probably say this book reminds you of like a concert or like a comedy show that you go to. You know how you got your opening acts at the beginning and you like, oh, okay, they did a good job. All right, cool. And then you have your headliner, like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, that was it right there. That was kind of how this book was set up. Okay, so I did have to make a couple notes here. So, you know, I got my little book and everything. So if y'all see me looking down and everything, it's because I had to take some notes. Because between the different names and authors, I knew I wasn't going to remember all of it. So I'm going to give you just a recap of what all of the stories are about. There will be no spoilers. So just giving you an idea of how this thing went. And maybe you might decide like, oh, I want to check that out. Okay? Okay. So first up, we have Amazing Grace by Lena Hart. So this one starts off shortly after the Civil War and the slaves are free. And we've got our main character. She has been convinced that she needs to, you know, marry this man that she never seen before. And I mean, I guess back then that probably wasn't as difficult of a thing to accept, I guess, you know. So along the way, she's taking this train and everything. She has stumbled upon and subsequently fell in love with this other man who was a Confederate army man. She didn't fall in love with this Confederate army man. Yeah, so understand this. Before they started to bump, they was bumping heads, okay? And so, yeah, that's that on that. Next up was Drifting to You by Kiana Alexander. So with this particular story, okay, let me see what I liked. It's a little further on after slavery has ended, and you know they're having the Juneteenth celebrations, and we're discovering that, you know, our main female character, she's a successful baker, you know what I mean, and she's really sought out, she's smart, she's making money, you know, and then she falls for this man who at that point owns the shipyard that he used to be a slave at. Okay, so the most intriguing thing about this story was just recognizing how they moved on from slavery. You know what I mean? Like, we always hear the downtrodden stories, like, oh, they were slaves and, you know, the shuffling the feet and they don't know how to read and write and gotta, you know what I mean? But with this one, shortly after coming out of slavery, they made a way for themselves. You know, to me, it just kind of ushered in the whole idea of Black Wall Street, where they were business owners and they knew how to make things. They knew how to make and keep money. And so that was what kind of resonated about this story to me. So yeah, that's that on that. And third on our list of stories is A Sweet Way to Freedom by Piper Hughley. Okay, so let me tell you about this one. This is probably our story that has, you know, a little taste of scandal. You know what I mean? So we've got a pregnant school teacher that is unwed back in 1910. Now, you already know that it was not going down with no unwed woman that's having these babies back in 1910, okay? But here she is, educated woman, school teacher, having a baby by the town player. He also is a musician. I wish I could just travel back in time and just tell all the women, y'all better leave these musicians alone, baby. Okay? Like, even 100 years ago. No. Whew, child. Anywho, she out here unwed, walking around with a big old belly. She done got fired from her job and everything because of it. And so we see her baby daddy come back on the scene and actually want to do right. And I mean, I guess maybe he did, but I wasn't convinced, because I'm saying he was a musician. And that's that on that. And then our last story, Let It Shine by Alyssa Cole, which was the standout story, I guess you could say. It was kind of a toss-up between, you know, our Pregnant Girl by the musician and this one, which is about our black girl who falls for this Jewish boxer guy. And yeah, their families is not feeling it. This was fast forward to the 1960s. Okay, so now we at civil rights movement time. And both of these characters are being raised by their fathers. I loved it. I love that aspect of the story. It was a big twist than ones that you typically see, because it's always that single mother component in stories when there's only one parent around. But with these, both of our main characters were actually coming up in homes with just their dads. So that was a really different spin. I really liked that. They were very passionate about each other. They were very passionate, though, about the movement and the cause. And even though you had moments where it was some really gruesome stuff that was happening, they were watching on TV and things of that nature, they still had the other element of romance and sweetness. And she pieced that together real good. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. And that's that on that. It's hard to give anthologies a rating because, I mean, it's literally multiple stories that you could have been absolutely in love with, and then others that you just was like, ugh. You know, and you just feel like, well, how am I supposed to rate this really? Well, I'm going to just go ahead and average it all out and give it like 3.5. I don't know how I would do that. Like a nub. Like, it's 3.5 acrylic nails for me. If you guys have not read this book yet, pick it up, grab it, check it out, see if you like it, come back and tell me about it. But in the meantime, I just want to wish you guys a happy Juneteenth once again. I'm Tam. I'm telling tales. Read a book.